Today, I am honored to welcome my dear friend, Alyssa Davis, to the podcast. Alyssa reached out to me via Instagram in, I believe, November of 2023 because she also lives in the DFW area and wanted help losing weight. I asked if she'd be willing to let me coach her for free if we could turn it into a YouTube series so others could benefit, and she agreed. And we made an entire series called Real Life, in which my job was to coach her on all things fitness and her job was to execute. Well, here we are a year and a half later, and as of yesterday morning, Alyssa is officially down 100 pounds. Alyssa is one of the most kind, genuine, hardworking, and hilarious humans I've ever met. She's like family to me, and I'm blessed to have her in my life and to be a part of her story. Also, as a quick aside, Alyssa texted me and said we should title this podcast Gay Girl Finds Her Way. I don't know if that's going to end up being the title, but suffice to say, this episode will be the opposite of politically correct. Alyssa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
How's it going? You got pulled over on the way?
I did get pulled over on the way.
You were speeding?
I wish I could say that. My registration was out. That's on me. So he came to my window and he was like, "Hey, your registration's out." I was like, "Yeah, that's fair." I was like,
So
"That's
he just
fair."
ran your plates and he was like, "Oh, this
I don't know. Yeah, I was like going the speed limit and like Waze was showing me like, "Hey, there's like 4 cops right here." I was like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
But yeah, he must have like, he's like, "Yeah, I saw your registration was out. That's why I pulled you over." I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Dang."
Okay.
So I was like, "Okay, fair." I had nothing to say.
So before we get into a lot of the meat and potatoes of the podcast, number one, who are you?
I'm like everybody watching. I feel like I'm a normal girl. Been working on my fitness journey. That's been a big part of me. But corporate America girly can't make it unless I'm working my 8 to 5 for now. Always been in and out in fitness, athletic my entire life. Married, no kids yet. Enjoy time with friends and family. But I feel like that pretty much covers it. Minus what you said. Thank you. That was great.
What are you doing for work right now?
I'm in sales for like manufacturing companies. So we're like the third party company. If you think of mom and pop shop, maybe they've been in business for 50 years and they've had the same repeat customers, but they don't know how to grow their sales and things
Yeah.
like that and bring in more revenue. So then they hire us to help them generate more revenue.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it because I've always wanted to stay in sales that was realistic. So like manufacturing, we can't do anything without it.
Yeah.
Every single part of anything. So it's been great. And a lot of them are just really humble people, like hardworking blue collars. They're like, "Hey,
Love
like,
that.
thank you for this help."
That's amazing.
So it's awesome.
What misconceptions do people have about you?
I think people think that I'm a hard ass and I'm so sensitive. Would be probably the biggest misconception.
Why do you think people think that? Why would someone think that you're a hard ass?
Oh man, I used to get told all the time, like, "Oh, like, I was always scared to come up to you because I thought you were mean." And like, I don't know. So like, I don't know if I'd carry like an RBF or something that would portray that. But I remember
resting bitch face for anyone who doesn't know what that
yes,
means.
resting bitch
You
face.
don't carry an
Yeah,
you
see,
don't.
that's what I thought.
No.
But one of my coworkers forever ago was like, "I could never imagine you crying," and I'm like, "You don't. I'll cry right now." Like, so I think that's a big misconception is that like that I'm a hard ass or like the stern, like, "Oh, you're a tough girl," but like really I'm like actually like super soft and sensitive and
You are very sensitive.
yeah.
But you know what it is? It's from my perspective, just getting to know you, it wasn't that I thought you were stern. It was the opposite. Like I thought you appear so happy and positive and optimistic. It's difficult to imagine you being so sensitive until you get to know you. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this girl, she's sensitive. Like, she's a sensi, right?
Cincy.
But like I would imagine that would maybe because like you're so optimistic, you're so positive, you're so you're so always out there in terms of even when you're struggling, even on your social media, you find a way to be positive and optimistic about it. So I could imagine that might be where someone thinks like, oh, like she's not sensitive or she's more just like always looking at the positive side of things. And it's not like you can't have both at the same time, but I would imagine that could be where it comes from.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And there's so much into what you said right there that I do want to dive into later, just about mindsets and things like that. Cause like that's played such a huge part up and down in my entire journey,
We'll definitely dive into it. What is something you used to believe in, but you no longer do?
That I used to believe in.
And maybe you used to believe it was true, maybe you used to believe it was wrong. Like, what's something you used to believe, but now, like, you don't think so anymore?
I think one of the biggest things is I remember before I had really any knowledge of like what it took to lose weight and really just understanding the basic of you need to be in a calorie deficit. I remember like working with different people or doing different meal plans and things like that. And it was like, okay, here's the deal. You got to eat 7 egg whites, a rice cake, no pepper, no salt, no that like it was like you have to eat. It was like I call it like prison food in my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah.
And I think like that's not true. Like you can essentially eat whatever the hell you want, but just in moderation. So I think that's the biggest thing I would say is a misconception for me.
Which is good because it makes it more sustainable. You don't have to suffer through this. You can actually enjoy the food that you're eating.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it took me such a long time to really get in that mindset with food and have that healthy relationship to understand or even how to like go about my daily life with it because I think we talked about this too in the real life series. Like sometimes counting calories for me, like I would get in my head about it. Like, okay, maybe I need to hit a 150 grams of protein.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 148. Okay, I need to figure this out, or I'm not going to be losing weight, or I'm not going to be, making the progress I want to see. Where I would overthink every single meal.
Mm-hmm.
And now on the other side, like I've learned, like, hey, like have some of the good stuff in moderation. You want a sweet treat every night? Yeah, maybe it's not Ben and Jerry's, but it's a Yasso bar, which is a
Mm-hmm.
yogurt bar. If you guys don't know,
Those are
they're
delicious.
amazing.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Or hey, maybe it's some frozen strawberries and you can dip them in some chocolate. I don't know, but there's just so many creative ways that you can still have this amazing food and
Mm-hmm.
not give up the things that you love.
I need to see if I can get sponsored by Yasso. We always
Same.
have them. They're
They're so
so
good.
freaking good.
And I end up buying like 3 packs because it's four in a box and there's two of us. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, there
No,
went Monday and Tuesday.
that's gone on Monday. That's gone. It's easy and they're so good and they're a great alternative. So yeah,
And
I
I
like them a
know
lot.
similar to me, you guys are like, we are a sweet treat every night family.
Yeah, same. Same.
Like, in side note, my wife just got a new car. Because usually, like, I do like most of the driving, like we go to the mall or we go shopping, whatever. Like, I mostly drive. But now she's been like, I'll drive. I'll drive. She got a new Infinity QX50. So, I went to the mall with her on Sunday and I loved it. Like, I pulled to her, like, we were heading home and I was like, do you think we could get a sweet treat? I was like, can we stop? And she was like, oh. And I was like, passenger princess has
I
arrived.
love that. I love that. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to assume someone listening or watching didn't watch real life.
Okay.
Okay, which they should. They should go back and watch those videos on YouTube. But let's just assume someone doesn't know who you are, where you started, any of that. Just tell us your story. I want to hear your story from childhood until now. And I don't want you to feel rushed. I don't want you to feel like this. You don't have to speed through this. I want to know like how you got to the point where you are right now, starting with childhood.
You mean more so like on the fitness side of things, like which
Yeah.
part? Okay.
Yeah, fitness, weight, all that stuff. Like from like what childhood was like all the way until now. You can
Okay.
share any parts of it that you want to.
Yeah. So I think, one thing I always will give my mom so much kudos for is when I was a kid, right? I think it's like what, 4 years old, you can start putting your kids in like T-ball or the soccer where you're just like running around on the field, like, oh, like grass, not paying attention to the ball, things like that. But my mom put me in every single sport with our city. So like I was in T-ball at a young age, softball, soccer, all those things to learn what I really like. So, which I'm super thankful for. And that's something I want to do with my kids one day, just to, hey, you go find what you like, but I'm going to put you in everything and then you can see what
Mm,
sticks.
mm.
So grew up,
That's a good mom.
yeah,
That's a good decision.
definitely something I'm going to take with me. And I think it's great versus being like, hey, like, I like gymnastics, so I'm only going to put you in gymnastics,
Yes.
but you never know what a kid's going to like. Um, so I think growing up, I was always athletic, but I was never, even when I was in high school, I was never like the skinny girl, Of course, looking back, I'm like, oh, love to be that weight now. That'd be so, I was skinny then. But always just kind of been more big bone, but always stayed in athletic type of thing. So I did track, I did softball, I did soccer for a little bit, but that one died out quick.
Why?
One thing about me, running, we just, I've never hit that point where it's like, if you just keep going, you get this runner's high and then you'll get another 25 miles in like it's nothing. Like I don't have that.
Yeah.
I'm like, like I am dying, but I've still been trying to get better at that now, even in my 30s. So I think my relationship with food, that was something that we never focused on in our family. We were definitely not the athletic family. I might have been athletic through school sports, but my family was the type of family where, hey, we're gonna have popped popcorn with some shredded cheese in it, and yeah, let's throw some M&Ms in there, and
For dinner.
no,
Oh, I was like, that's a
like
crazy dinner.
no, but just like as a snack, like
Got
just
it, got it.
adding all these extra things in there. Never worried about our weight or tracking things like that. And I think eventually, as I got older, that caught up with me. And it's interesting too. A real realization I've had recently is I grew up in Seattle, which is beautiful as far as nature, mountains. I mean, water. You have it all, and I never experienced that growing up. Like I never went on
Mm.
hikes. We never were like, hey, let's go look at the mountain and climb up and see what it looks like. We just were never an active family. And I think to give some more clarity on that, and this kind of tells a lot about me as time goes on too, is, my mom had me really young. So she had me when I was 17.
She was 17.
She
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
17. Yeah. And so I think a lot of her mindset was more just survival.
Yeah, of course.
Like, and we talked about it when I got older. She was like, like, do you think I was a good mom? Do you think I did okay? Because her perception of doing well was like, okay, I was able to afford getting you enrolled in these sports programs. You have clothes, I have food, you have your school supplies, like you're able to get to school, all those things, versus maybe more on the emotional side wasn't there. There's some nights where she's working late and 7, 8 o'clock at night, she's getting home. So she's like, hey, throw in a pizza, things like that. So, everyone grows up in these different ways. So I think a lot of things weren't a priority because we were just making it. But to me, that was my normal. I wasn't mad or sad. I was just like, yeah, this is just how we do things here. So I think just as time went on, in my 20s, once I started making my own money, it was like, we can go out to eat whenever we want. Hell yeah. Like drinking, making friends, things like that. And it caught up to me fast. The old saying, you always lose or you always gain weight 10 times faster than you can lose it. So yeah, I think like I was definitely always the party person, always like, yeah, I'm down to do whatever. Yeah, let's take shots. Yeah, let's do this. Like, oh yeah, let's go out to eat, And then when I started making good money, it was like, yeah, let's go to this nice steakhouse to get this 7-course meal. Let's go buy that bottle of wine. Just things change, and naturally I was changing too. I was getting bigger and bigger. So I think for me, like a real big part of my story and like how, why it was important for me to lose weight, and especially in the real life series and you coming in my life at that time, is whenever my wife and I first started dating, I had I'll start from the beginning here. So we were in her family's house in Louisiana, and I was just like, oh, like I can't pee. I was like, this is weird. I was like, maybe I have a UTI or something. I was like, but I've never had one of those. I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm like Googling, like, what should I do? Like, oh, lay in a hot bath, flip over, do a backflip. Maybe you'll pee again. Like nothing was working. So after like 12 hours, I was like, hey, like, I gotta go to the ER. Like I'm in so much pain. Like I have not peed. So
And you literally like couldn't get it out.
like could not pee. And it was just hurting so
You
bad.
felt it in your bladder. You're like, you had to, but you couldn't.
Yeah. So
That's
it was
crazy.
like having a full bladder for like 12 hours. And it was
Oh
the
my
point I was
gosh.
like, oh, like I was like wincing, and I was like, I have to go to the ER. Like something's wrong. So we go to the ER in Louisiana. We're 6 hours from home. And they were like, hey, we have to give you a catheter. And I was like, okay, like whatever.
Get this pee out.
Yeah. So they instantly give me a catheter, and I'm like instantly feel better. And I'm like, oh, sweet, let's wrap this up. Let's go home. But it turned out I had lots of uterine fibroids. I did like a CT scan, and I had uterine fibroids. And don't ask me in detail what those are, because I'm not going to be able to give you the medical answer, but I just know that they were not supposed to be there. But one of them was so big that it was pressing on my bladder, which was causing me not to be able to pee. So the doctor was like, hey, look, like I can't take this catheter out of you because I'm nervous that you're going to have the same problem again with how much this is pressing on your bladder.
Yeah.
So he was like, when are you going home? Can you get in with your doctor as soon as you get home? Like you can't have this in. If it's in for too many days, you can get an infection. You'll have to be on antibiotics, all these things. I was like, okay. So we made the trek back home, and I
With
joked
the
out,
catheter.
yeah, and I honestly, I'll be real, like I was trying to make light of it, so I was like, just me and my pee bag, just me and my pee bag hanging out. And I remember the first night. I mean, you got to make light, But the first night I slept, like they were like, you can't let it get too full. And I remember waking up and I was like, oh no, I have to go empty this thing. Like it's so weird. And I hope and pray that I never have to get one again. But it's like, wait, when did this thing get full? I never felt like I had to pee. Like it's weird. Anyway, fast forward. I, got back home, went to my doctor, had to see a specialist, things of that nature. So I went to a specialist. And again, me and my wife, like we aren't engaged yet. Like we've been dating. This is December of 2020, 2021. I can't remember. And
This is right in the middle of COVID.
no, it was after COVID. So maybe I proposed in 2022. So this is probably like the end of 2021.
Got it. Okay.
And but I was planning to propose that following February. So this is like December, right before Christmas. And I'm thinking like, the doctor's gonna come in and say, hey, we have some quick options. Here's what you need to do. I never was a kid that grew up sick, mind you. So like I was used to like, hey, I got strep throat once a year. Here's your antibiotics. See you later. But I was never someone who consistently was on medication or had to go to the doctor multiple times a year. Like never. So she checks me out, does all these things, and she comes back in, and Kylie's with me. And she gives us three options, and I can't remember what the other two were, but she did it in such a good way where like the other two didn't make sense, but she wanted to give me three options so I could choose, so I could have a choice. But essentially, she was like, "Hey, like, so you have three options. You can have an emergency surgery, and you have to have a partial hysterectomy and get your uterus removed because it is blocking the uterine fibroid is blocking it, and like it's going to be a mess down there. Essentially, is what she was saying. And the other one was like, have a catheter forever. And like in the other one, it was like, well, this is a clear answer.
Yeah.
So I remember like she gave us a couple of minutes, and it was like right there in that moment, like, okay, like yeah, we've been dating. Yes, I'm going to propose, but like. Essentially, she just told me in a quick 5-minute convo, hey, you can't have kids. And I was like, oh, like, that was something that we never discussed in depth. Of course, like, hey, you want kids? Yeah, I want kids. But we didn't have this full methodical plan of that yet. So that was a lot to take in. And I think too, for both of us, I think obviously I'm the one that went through this, but it was also a lot for Kylie as well. So I ended up, going through with the emergency surgery. I was very thankful. My grandparents ended up coming down. My mom came down. Everyone was there for me. So I had the surgery, woke up had to stay like 2 nights in the hospital. And I remember, my aunt, she actually went through chemo, had cancer, and she had to do a couple of surgeries. And she had given me the advice. She's like, hey, as soon as they come in there and check on you after surgery, I don't care what time it is, like tell them like you want to stand up and move around. Like the faster like you're on your feet and can move, like the more you'll heal faster. So when I took that with me, so I remember it was like 4 a.m. Doctor comes in and she's like, hey, like let's stand up. So I stand up on my feet. I'm like, yeah, I want to walk around, do what I can, because in my mind at this point, what's keeping me going is like, hey, I want to be good to propose in February. So I'm going to do whatever I can to heal. I think an important part of this story too is to know, I know when women get hysterectomies done, partial or full, they can do it laparoscopically now. I had to be cut open from my belly button to the bottom of my belly button to the top of my vagina because of how big the uterine fibroid
Oh,
was.
wow.
And I remember Kylie telling me, she's like, no, like I know that medically, like this was a big deal because the doctor like took a picture of it on her cell phone
Shut up.
and was like, do you want to see it? And it was literally like the size of a little 6-inch Subway sandwich.
That's
Just
crazy.
in my stomach, just pressing, which is crazy. Like you just walk around and never had any issues before then. So did everything I could after surgery, trying to heal, eat a lot of protein, drink your water, things like that. We would do what's called like blueprints around the house. So I just start walking around the house, get my steps in, and just tried my best to make it fun. So I want to say after like 14 days, maybe it was 10 or something, I go back to the doctor because they go and like look at the staples, see if you're good. I was wearing a band around right here to hold everything together because if you think of a woman who gets a C-section, they're closing this way, which is natural. Well, my scar is this way or my cut was this way. So that's not a natural way for it to close. So I was wearing a band to keep everything together, doing everything I was supposed to do, the water, the protein, everything. So go to the doctor, get checked out. She's like, yeah, like you're healing really good. Everything looks great. They take out my staples. And at this point, I mean, during that time, hey, Christmas, I didn't get to really enjoy Christmas. This was the day after Christmas was my surgery. So there goes New Year's too. Now we're fast forward, it's mid-January. I haven't been out of the house in like 3 weeks. Um, so she's like, yeah, you're all good to go, you know? And I'm like, hey, like, are we allowed to like maybe like go to a store or something like that? And she's like, yeah, like you're clear. Like, obviously just be careful, you know, still take it easy. But yeah, you can absolutely go to the store. And one place we wanted to go look was IKEA, just because we were moving in a few months. Like, yeah, let's just go look around IKEA and just nice to get out of the house and do something together. So right after we had left the doctor's house, or the doctor, we went to IKEA. And honestly, I was drinking coffee and I was like, ooh, I gotta go to the bathroom. You know, just drinking coffee. So I went to the bathroom and Kylie's still in IKEA somewhere. And I'm sitting down on the toilet. I hear, and I was like,
Oh, shit.
and I look and I can just like see my gut.
Shut
And I was like,
up.
so then I'm like panicking. And I like try to call Kylie and I don't have service. So it's like, she's like, I can't hear you. I'm like, But she said, she's like, I could tell in your voice without even hearing you that like something was wrong. So this is like an hour after we just left the doctor. So Kylie comes in and Kylie, like I will always give my wife kudos. She's really good in situations like that. Like she's the
Mm.
one that can stay calm and be like, hey, like we're good. I'm going to call 911. We're going to get this figured out. And I'm like, why are they here yet? It's been 5 minutes. What if I couldn't breathe for 5 minutes? Like, you know, I'm freaking out. And the lady on the phone, the operator, she's like, okay, well, what color pants are you wearing? And what floor? And I'm like, why does this matter? Like, you know, like, why aren't you here yet?
I'm the one with the guts coming out of me.
Yeah, I'm like, where are they? Like, why are you asking me questions? So they come, and yeah, essentially I had to go back to an ER, had to go to a different ER than the one that my surgery was at, because the one that my surgery was at was just like a surgery center type style. They didn't take ER patients. Split open and they were like, yeah, like we're not gonna like they were like, if we just sew you closed, because it's so deep down, like there's a chance of like pockets and things of not healing correctly. So I ended up having to, long story short on that one, I had to end up getting a wound care doctor, or going to wound care once a week, having a home health nurse that came twice a week, and that was for another 6 weeks. So
Wow.
now after I had done everything after my surgery to heal, this was taken on as well. So it was just so much I was going through. You know, I think nothing I would ever imagine. I think it definitely gave me a perspective. Like I was in healthcare for a while as a travel nurse recruiter, but so seeing like how nice the home health nurse was that was coming, and twice a week she was changing my bandage because I was healing literally open to close. Like that's going to be the safest way. And then at wound care once a week, the doctor would look at it, clean things up, see how I'm healing, maybe move some things around. And when I graduated, I got to like ring the bell and say like, hey, like I'm all healed. So it was just such an experience, and it was a setback. You know, it was a huge setback for me mentally, internally, obviously really focusing on the engagement. Um, so I think now, I mean, gosh, like just thinking back to that, all during that time, you know, Kylie also was sleeping on the hospital little cot during that time. When I got released, she got COVID. So I'm down and out. She has COVID. My grandma's like going back and forth between both of us, like trying to take care of us, things of that. And like, I just can't imagine, you know, doing it without her. And I think one thing, like if she was to tell anything about that story, like that will just always stick with her, is my surgery went over longer than it should have. And so my family's kind of like, oh, this is weird. They said it was going to be, I'm making it up, 3 hours. It's been 5 hours. Well, doctor comes out after my surgery, and family hasn't seen me yet. She pulls my mom and Kylie, and they go to take her to the prayer room, and they're like, wait, like what is happening? And Kylie was in healthcare too, and she's like, the doctor sat down, and she's like, and one thing you don't do is sit down.
Mm-hmm.
But she sat down and took off her surgery cap and just was like, hey, like that was the hardest surgery I've ever done in my career, because I was so overweight. I mean,
Oh.
at that time I was 350 pounds. So I had to get approval from like my PCP, like, hey, you have to do an EKG, like make sure like we're putting you under anesthesia. Like outside of this issue here with your stomach and the hysterectomy, like you're a risk because of how overweight you are. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm worried about this. I'm worried, could I die during my surgery because I have anxiety? So that's how anxiety works. That's my natural thought there. But one thing that never crossed my mind until after was the doctor saying like, "Oh, heads up, the that uterine fibroid is benign." And I was like, I didn't even consider that that could have been cancerous or
Yeah.
something, you know? So crazy story there. And I think, after our journey, we had gotten engaged and I made it through all that. And it was just such an important day for me. And I pulled off the surprise still. So, I mean, through all of that, I still was planning this engagement, planning the surprise party after, but also everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know how you did that." I'm like, well, I was sitting every day for like 30 days while I was healing. Um, so I think like, one thing that really stuck with me is just like it really showed me in a different light that you really don't want to see with your partner, but just like how strong your partner is and how you guys can get through things and be able to overcome them. Um, so kind of our next step after that, which really got me into my weight loss journey was IVF. So we had to look at, have a conversation at home like, hey, how do we want to do this? How do we want to go about having kids? So, and funny story, I had to ask Kylie before I came here, like, hey, what are the actual terms of how to say this? Because how I say it is, yeah, take my eggs out, put them in her. We'll put a baby in there. And yeah, it'll be great. But I think it's called reciprocal IVF is what it's
Okay.
called. So essentially get my eggs taken out. We'll put them into Kylie, and then obviously we get to choose a sperm donor and those things. I think it was really important for us because even though genetically it might be my DNA, how would Kylie not feel the connection of carrying the
Of
baby,
course.
all that. So I feel like in our situation, it was a win. It would be a win-win. So after we got married, fast forward now to 2023, we had had a conversation with an IVF doctor, and he had said, "Oh, well, like, hey, Alyssa, like, how much do you weigh?" And I was like, "Oh, I weigh 350 pounds." And he wasn't being a dick about it, but in the nicest way, he was like, "Hey, look, like, why don't you guys just use Kylie's eggs? Like, she's at the proper weight, she's healthy, you don't need to do anything, worry about anything." He's like, "You're gonna have to lose over 100 pounds to be able to carry or even be able to be in a position to take all the hormonal stuff to put you under to get your eggs taken out, things of that." Like in my experience, most people don't do that. So it's a safer bet. Why don't you just use Kylie's eggs? And naturally in my mind, I was like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. Get
But
competitive with
yeah, I
it.
was like, oh yeah, nobody does that. So, I think like that's where it stemmed from for me and my weight loss. Like it was more than just me and thinking about like my family and things of that nature. So, and it's really important to tie both of those stories together because what I went through, sure, I was the one that was going through it, but for both of us, it was very traumatic. My surgery and just going through that and then thinking like I'm cleared and then being cut open and having to restart to all the way being told like, hey, you will never be able to use your eggs and have kids the way that you want to. So that's been my motivation and just knowing like how much my wife has been there for me. I mean, outside of the surgery for countless things and just be like, okay, like I'm going to do this not only for me, but for my family. So that's, what's really led and made me stick with a journey that is bigger than myself, to be honest.
I love that. Yeah, and to be fair, I know like you were the one like physically going through all this. I always do think that for the spouse, the partner, whoever is there to support, they're also going through it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw how much it probably impacted Kylie and how much like time and energy and distress like she was going through. So it is like when you're with someone, like you're both going through it together. So obviously huge props to you and huge props to her. She's amazing. Like really it's wonderful to have a partner that's going to stick with you like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's in those ways where it's like I hope to never be in a position like that again, but it's like it's really in those ways you tell like what type of person you're marrying,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So, huge.
I feel like it gives you more confidence in your relationship to go through something that difficult and know it's like, man, I've just got the best partner. I've got someone who's got my back, like no matter what. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it's like, hey, we go through this or we went through this, we can get through anything, you know?
So you get to a point, doctor's like, probably just want to use Kylie's eggs. Like it's gonna be difficult. And you're like, yo, fuck you, dude. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. Which even within there's a conversation to be had about like, I wonder if that was a deliberate verbiage choice maybe, maybe not, to try and elicit some type of a response of like, no, I'm gonna fucking do this, or he's just like trying to be more objective and factual. Most people, because factually, most people don't lose 100 pounds if they need to.
Sure.
But it is interesting how that elicited that response within you. So this was 2023, is that correct?
Yeah, this was probably like summer of 2023.
So this was soon, like not long before you and I started like to work together.
Yeah, because what we started in beginning of 2024.
Yeah,
So that,
but so you reached out before that because remember we waited about like 6 or 8 weeks from when you
yeah.
reached out to before real life actually started.
Yeah, it was probably like maybe like 2 months max before you and I were connected.
Amazing, amazing. And so before you and I started, what did you begin with in terms of nutrition, exercise? Like, did you start immediately? Like, you know what, I want to lose this weight. I want to be able to use my eggs. Like, was that like an immediate process, or what happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was an immediate process. I think, prior to me gaining or being at 350 pounds, like I had lost weight before. And I think I've mentioned this, but I've always yo-yoed where like, sure, I can be on and I know how to lose weight, but then I don't stick with it and I fall off. And some of that is like due to lack of things that I've learned now to get me out of that mindset to be able to stick with it and go back in. So I just kind of buckled down. Like, a big thing for me before counting calories, which is what I was doing, what helped me learn counting calories before that, I will say, is honestly Weight Watchers, which I wouldn't recommend now, but it at least helped me have an understanding like with their point system and how they utilize things like that. Yeah. So like, oh, okay, well, like, geez, I didn't know like this piece of pizza is, I'm making it up, 27 points. I only get 30 points for the day. Versus they would do things like, a banana would be 0 points. People used to comment on like the Facebook Weight Watchers page, like, like, well, what if someone eats 50 bananas?
Who the fuck is eating 50 bananas?
And I'll never forget it. And someone's like, Janice, let's be real. We're all not here because we ate 50 bananas. I was like, that's so true.
Incredible.
That's so true. So just got back into things that I knew. It was just counting calories, going to the gym, losing weight, and just really focusing on that. Because I had it all mentally there. I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Laziness, didn't want to, was enjoying eating the foods I wanted, was enjoying not being disciplined. But I was paying the price fully.
This is an aside, but you said, you wouldn't recommend Weight Watchers now. I want to give my thoughts, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. The fitness industry is very, it's not only volatile, it's very cult-like, and people get very upset if someone or a different methodology than theirs is even mentioned. And I've noticed that with Weight Watchers, or really with anything, if someone disagrees with someone else, then immediately like, I hate that methodology, I hate that person, I hate that whatever. For me, when I look at Weight Watchers, there are things I disagree with, but also there are many things I really like. And so for me looking at Weight Watchers, if I'm looking at all of the mainstream weight loss programs, the mainstream ones, Weight Watchers is the best from a mainstream perspective, in my opinion. That doesn't mean I agree with everything. There are things I very much disagree with, but also I think it has a lot of really good things. And in this, basically, it's teaching people to track calories without tracking calories. And there are things that are wrong and need to be improved, of course. But I don't think that I don't think that it's bad. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. And I would say I wouldn't recommend it now for me. Now, here's the thing. Like if my grandma was like, hey, I want to lose a couple pounds, she's 70 plus. I'm not going to be able to have her understand. And maybe she could. I don't want to not give her credit. But some people, the idea of like understanding tracking your macros or counting your calories, like it can be overwhelming. Versus I do think Weight Watchers did do a good job with, hey, scan this barcode. It's 7 points. You have 25 points for the day. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
And then them allowing like essentially what they were doing with some of the 0 point foods, such as broccoli or strawberries or whatever. It's forcing people, not forcing, but making you want to, oh, well, this is 0. So let me add that in because I'm hungry.
Yes.
And you're essentially those 25 points you have for the day is for the bullshit. Like maybe a Yasso bar is 4 points, but that's worth it.
Great. Yeah.
But you're telling me a cup of broccoli is 0. Yeah, I'm going to throw that in there. I'm starving.
Yes.
Yeah,
I completely agree with you. And obviously, I think what I do is better.
Yeah.
Obviously, or else I wouldn't do it. But objectively, I can also recognize that they've had tremendous success with millions of people around the world. And I see where they're coming from. And listen, there's room for improvement in the inner circle.
I think
Every method can improve.
100%. And I think why I said I wouldn't recommend it now is because it limits your ability to learn what nutritious foods you should be giving your body outside of like, oh yeah, like we know strawberries are great for you and pizza's not the best. Like that's obvious, but also a big one you'll love is fiber, right? Like learning to understand like, hey, if I eat this food, it's more than just losing weight. It's this is nutritious for me, my body for multiple reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. Makes total sense. Okay. So what I did before to prepare for this is I went through the real life videos and I watched over again. I saw some things you were saying and I picked some things out that I wanted to just get your thoughts on. Okay. So one of the things you said, so before we actually started working together, you remember when you and Mitch did the interview before we started working together?
At my apartment, my old apartment.
Yeah. So
Mitch.
before we started working together, you said and you even just mentioned this just now, you've historically been an all in or all out person with your fitness. You said you would go 0 to 100 and then say, fuck it, I'm out. You said you'd lose 15 pounds and then you'd gain it all back. Now, being 100 pounds down and having gone through everything, have you officially overcome the all or nothing mindset, or is it still something you struggle with?
No, I think the all or nothing mindset is super out for me, which is great. I think for me, what I've realized, everything for me is more on the mental side. So for instance, if I'm on the grind, a big thing I've been doing right now that I've added actually this month is journaling, because I am someone who can look at glass half full versus or was that right? No, half empty. I'm sorry. Like I look at it half empty. I can find the negatives and things. So that's how it would be easy for me to tear myself apart. So one thing I've been changing to help with that is like really, I used to hate weighing myself every day because I don't think most people that I was following or that would tell me to weigh yourself every day was doing a good job of explaining why. Because now I'm just looking at the scale like, okay, great. I was 5 pounds down yesterday. Now I'm up 3 pounds. Like, what is happening? I feel like it messed with my mental because I was so focused on just want the scale to go down, down, down. And I think when we did the real life series, it was very telling and like, hey, like, no, this spike is good because that's telling me like you're gonna have the swoosh come later. And I never understood that. And now it's made me have such a healthy relationship more with myself on things and my self-talk and my mental where it's like, okay, I drank alcohol tonight. I'm so curious now to see like, what is that fluctuation going to look like? I'm going to be up 2 pounds or 3, but knowing that it's going to go up because of what I put in my body versus I know now when I'm about to have like a swoosh moment is the day before, like I am just peeing a ton. And I don't know if that's part of
that's that's exactly right.
I'm like, oh, something big's coming here. We're about to go down. So it's interesting. And I think before my mindset, like, go on vacation, gain 7 pounds during a vacation because I wasn't going to limit myself. And then I'm like, well, used to be like, well, fuck it. Like it's all back. Let me just not get back on the grind. But now it's like, okay, well, yeah, I was on vacation. I had a great time. Now I know if I just lock back in this same week, these 7 pounds will realistically go away. It's all water weight. It's all from eating fatty foods, things of that nature. And I think I never had the knowledge to understand that that's what that was and that it would easily come off. And I think too, like really just for me personally, as I've gotten in my 30s, like I didn't go to the gym a lot last week. I didn't journal a bunch. And honestly, we were kind of like eating kind of like not bad, but just whatever. But I could tell for me, it's always mentally, I'm like, oh, like I kind of just feel like shit about myself and like don't feel well. Like I need to hit the gym and I need to journal. So for me, I mean, of course, losing weight has always been my goal. But for me, it's also more about like mentally where it puts me more than like, you see this, Jordan, this is a 35-pound dumbbell now. I'm doing it. Like it was never about like how much I'm lifting or am I getting toned. And I think it'll be interesting to see once I lose more weight, how that will change because being toned has never been an option for me. If I'm filling out a questionnaire about working with a trainer and it's like, we're looking for to lose weight, to be toned, to maintain. Well, definitely not to maintain. Toning, you can't see these abs if you wanted to. So yeah, we're going to try to lose weight,
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I think that was huge for me.
To your point, there are a couple things I want to discuss. Number one, in terms of the whoosh, but like how you're peeing the day before. This happens all the time. And now there are different theories as to why this happens. And I don't know of a single, like, this is definitively it. I think over time we'll learn more. But as everybody knows generally that your body can hold on to water. Um, your body also, we all understand homeostasis. Your body doesn't want to change. I think the easiest and most accurate general understanding of what's going on here is that as you're losing weight, your body doesn't want you to lose weight. And one of the things it will do, it will hold on to water. And then it's going to stay there and stay there until, and just because you're holding on to water, your weight is going to appear as though it's staying the same because you're holding on to more water. It's like, what's heavier, a dry sponge or a wet sponge? A wet sponge is going to be heavier. But as you're in a calorie deficit, you're still losing body fat, but you're holding on to water. So your weight will appear to be non-changing, or maybe even it might go up if you're holding on to more water than you're losing fat. Eventually, your body's going to let go of the water. It might take a day, it might take 3 days, it might take 7 days. Who knows? But the day before you have a big whoosh on the scale, you see a big drop, you're going to be pissing like a racehorse
Yeah.
every single
It's like every
time.
hour
Yeah.
almost.
And the leaner you get, what you'll notice is like, there's a man named Lyle McDonald. He wrote an article on this probably 15, 20 years ago now. He called it On Whooshes and Squishy Fat. And as you get leaner, you'll notice like if you pinch your skin, you'll feel like, oh, this is watery. Like it feels watery. And then as you're about to go through a whoosh, like you'll feel yourself dry out a little bit. Like you'll feel the skin like drying out and you'll release that water.
Do you think it's a certain like weight for people to be able to feel that? Because I feel like if you would have asked me that 50 pounds ago, I'm like, baby, this is all
You'd have
just,
no clue.
yeah,
Yeah.
this all feels the same, you know?
I don't know if there's a certain body fat percentage, but generally speaking, the leaner you get, the more you're going to be able to feel it, which not only does that make sense from a physiological standpoint, but the leaner you get and the more you practice this, the more you're going to understand your body. Like
100%.
you're gonna pay attention to things. I mean, even for example, people say this all the time. After they've lost weight, after they've gotten fit, they're like, I didn't realize how bad I felt.
Mm,
Right? It's they don't realize until they start putting effort into it and they start learning their body. It's like I felt horrible and I didn't even know how horrible I felt
yeah.
because now they know what it feels like to feel good. Now they know what it feels like to be stronger and to be more athletic and to move without as much pain. So I think it's just something you learn the leaner you get, partially because physiologically and you can actually see it and feel it, and also because you're learning your body.
100%. You know, and one thing I would comment on that, like for anyone who is tuning in, is more so if you don't have it, I know you're a big proponent of this, like get a Renpho scale. Get
Oh,
a
what is it?
Renpho.
Redfo?
Renpho, Renpho. The
Oh,
scale.
sure. I mean, I don't,
You never heard of it?
I don't, I don't know.
You
No.
literally got me the mini scale.
Oh, was it? I just ordered it off Amazon. I didn't know. I just got it off Amazon. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
so like the Renpho scale, like for body weight, it'll tell you like your BMI. It'll tell you obviously the projection of your metabolic age. It'll tell you how much body fat percentage you're carrying versus skeletal muscle fat, things of that nature. So it helps you essentially see more than just the weight or the
Mm-hmm.
number on the scale. So sometimes for me, like if I feel like, oh man, I feel a little bit more toner now, or I feel like I've been sore, I've been really pushing myself, I can see the difference in the numbers. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I might be up 2 pounds, but my body fat percentage is actually down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to be able to see that for people that just rely on
Mm-hmm.
the number,
Yeah.
you know?
With that, I'm glad that it worked really well for you. That makes me super happy. What I always say is, because it can work in the other direction, right?
Mm.
Where it's like, let's say you've been going super hard and all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck? My body fat went up and my muscle went down.
Oh,
Because those things they're not 100% accurate. The only 100% accurate way to get your body fat measurement is to get an autopsy, which is not the most convenient thing for the average individual to do.
yeah.
From there, then you could get something like a DEXA scan, which is still not 100% accurate and not convenient at all for the vast majority of people. So for some people, if you're looking at that scale and it says, "Oh my gosh, my body fat went up," it can be influenced by your hydration status. It can be influenced by a lot of things. So for some people, if they see their body fat went up and their muscle went down despite working really hard, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck? Why am I doing this? Clearly, it's not working." So I'm super glad that it worked for you. And I think that's amazing. Also worth mentioning, I wouldn't rely on those numbers as fact
Sure.
because
No, I agree.
they're not 100% accurate. And I've found generally, if you're just using the scale to look at your weight and you're not looking at body fat or muscle or anything like that, you can understand, listen, there might be water, there's muscle, there's bone, there's food, there's glycogen, we're playing footsie right now.
I noticed that. I was like,
um, there are many different things that could impact it, and all of those things can impact what that Renfo scale or whatever those scales will tell you. I found that from a motivation perspective, people who don't believe in their ability to succeed are easier to find an excuse to quit. Right? It's easier to find a reason like why. So if they see that their body fat hasn't gone down or it happened to go up based on this inaccurate scale, fuck this, I'm done. So I'm super glad that it worked for you. I think that's amazing. I also just want people to know, um, like my scale, for example, it's just a digital scale. Like
just normal,
just
just the
normal.
weight.
No body fat, none of that stuff. Just because for me, as long as the trend is downward in weight and my goal is weight loss, that's working.
Yeah.
That's it. And not to say you're wrong in that because it clearly works super well for you. Just to offer another perspective as well.
No, 100%. And I think the only real metric that I've been relying on, not even relying, but like seeing is the BMI,
Mm,
just because of my journey. So like having
mm-hmm.
to be and I can't remember what the BMI is. I just knew I had to be at 250 pounds.
Yep.
So just seeing, okay, if am I there yet? Like, what is that
Yeah.
BMI? Because what's interesting is like someone could be at the 250-pound mark, but your BMI may not be at the same realm of, I don't know, surgery approved or
Yep.
whatever that looks
Yep.
like. So I don't know, different.
Either way, you know, there was other things that you were talking about as well in terms of how you're out of the all or nothing mindset now, which is incredible. You were saying that in terms of the all or nothing mindset, you brought up your scale weight and how you'd see the weight go up and then you'd be like, oh well, fuck it, I'm out. And this to me is interesting from I like to analyze behavior and like, well, why would someone be in the all or nothing mindset? Because generally people will often say, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist," or "I'm all in," or "I'm all out." And for me, it's not accurate because all of us do things that are in a non-perfect way. Generally, these people are picking and choosing what they're perfectionists on.
Mm,
Oh well, for weight loss, I'm a perfectionist, but for this, for whatever it is, for in their work, something in their life, they're picking and choosing. And I've found that they're picking and choosing based on uh, their perceived progress. So if you are looking at the scale and you see the scale go up 2 pounds, you're like, well, what the fuck? In your mind, you think that you're not making progress. So then you're like, well, fuck it, I quit. I'm out. Now I'm an all out person. You're all in when you see the scale going down super, super fast because in your mind, in your perceived, in your thoughts, that's what you think it should be doing. But what you've explained is that once you learned how the scale works, and once you learn the truth about, okay, well, the scale is going to go up, and I know that when I start peeing a lot, I'm going to have a whoosh. Now all of a sudden, you've let go of that all or nothing mindset because you're now educated on what this actually means. It wasn't that you're an all in or all out person. It wasn't that you're a perfectionist, that you were being misled by this perceived assumption of how this
100%.
is supposed to work. And so then you're like, well, fuck this. It's not working. So I quit. It was the way that I've framed it over the years is, the scale is speaking a language and most people don't speak scale. They
That's good.
it's speaking to you, but it would be as if like if I'm speaking to someone who speaks Chinese, I have no clue what the fuck you're saying.
Right.
And so the scale will go up and people look at the scale and they're like, they think it's saying it's something bad, but it's actually screaming at you saying this is normal. This is like, don't quit. This is fine. But you're misinterpreting what the scale is telling you because you don't speak scale language. So you need to learn scale language so that you don't end up quitting when it's actually saying this is normal.
And I think to second that too, or to piggyback off that would be like, that's why it's good to weigh yourself multiple times a week. And I get if every day may be a lot, or, maybe you forget one day, that's fine. Versus the week to week,
Yes.
you're not going to be able to see the trajectory of like, where your
Yes.
spikes are, where you do have whooshes that are coming to see like what's coming next. And I think that's where Inner Circle does such a good job with, when you do put in your weight and then you have the trajectory of like, hey, this
Yeah.
is trending down.
Yes.
You're killing it. And then you kind of start seeing like, oh, wait, hold on. I've been kind of yo-yoing back and forth here with my weight. And then it's just like, doof.
Yeah.
And then you do it again. Doof. It's like literally, it's cool.
That for me, I'm very proud of how much work we've put in the inner circle, but the weight trend for me is top three things in it because I've coached people for 20 years now. And I know that when people see their weight go up, they're going to get pissed, generally speaking, earlier on. So what we did was not only does it show you the trend, but Susan and I recorded voice messages.
I love those.
And that we insert them, that Alex, our app developer, she was able to figure out a way so that if your weight went up, you'd get a voice memo from us being like, this is normal. Keep going. Don't stop. And if it went up a second day, you'd get a second day voice. Hey, listen, it's normal. Keep going. And so because when I was working with people one-on-one, they would have that ability to hear from me every day and like have that voice in their ear being like, this is fine. Don't quit. But in a membership model where I'm not one-on-one interacting with people, I was like, how do we get in their ear, in their head to let them know this is normal? So we literally like were able to figure out, okay, if your weight goes down, sometimes you'll get a voice memo being like, hey, amazing job, but just so you know, your weight might come up tomorrow. That's okay. Don't worry. So that for me is, I think it's one of the reasons why we see a higher success rate in the inner circle compared to most, probably even one-on-one, but definitely memberships, because we figured out a way to still be in your ear and letting you know these things are normal and teaching you how to speak scale language on a day-to-day. So that is something I'm super proud about with the inner circle.
I mean, and just another thing, just talking on the inner circle that I just haven't personally seen anywhere else, is like just the community in itself.
Yeah.
And overall, like I can see maybe one time there's been like someone that posted something wild that was like, yo, you gotta go.
Yeah, you're out.
You're out. But
Yeah.
other than that, like everyone is just so for everyone. And it's just nice to have that back community. I mean, and even, oh my gosh, yesterday, I mean, I have hundreds of DMs yesterday, like
That's
just
awesome.
people that are like, I am so proud of you. I mean, I've been following your journey since you did real life with Jordan. And like, it is so cool to see a normal person like me just out here, making it. And like, I try my best to respond. And there's sometimes I'm like, hey, look, like, it wasn't always easy. And like, that's why I tune in so much to the mindset, because the mind can trick you and be like, hey, like, you're not going to be able to do this. Nah, you lose weight. No, you're not. Versus like, if you're like, yeah, actually, I can do this, and I can get up and go on a walk, and I can go to the gym, and those things. Like, so, I mean, just the community in general is just like any other, and they're all so great. I love them.
It's incredible. And I remember we used to do retreats. We haven't done them in a few years, but I remember at the very first retreat that we had, someone said to the effect of like, how is the community so positive? I've never seen anything bad. And I remember, I'll never forget this. I said, listen, there will be times in the future where someone is going to, there is going to be a douchebag who joins and who says something inappropriate. And I want to let you know, we have a zero tolerance policy. As soon as someone says something, they're gone. I don't need their money.
Yeah.
I don't want their money. So we try and cut cancer out as soon as it shows itself.
And that shows in the community.
And so fortunately, that's like, the community's unbelievable. And if there's a cancer that pops up, out, done. So like, I think it's important for the health of the community to keep that the way that it is.
And the way that the community is now too, just last note on that, is like, before you or Susan might even see something, and again, like I've only seen it one time ever, and I've been in that group for years. People in the community are like, hey, no, no. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about IVF, okay?
Okay.
So you said you were initially starting this journey to lose weight. So you'd be able to freeze your eggs to go through the process of IVF and have children with Kylie. You also said you wanted to get to a point in which this fitness lifestyle is just natural. These are direct quotes from what you said before we started working together. So now that you've lost 100 pounds, are you going to begin your IVF journey? And do you feel like this is now your lifestyle?
Yeah, I think two great questions. So we are going to start slowly with the IVF journey. We have an appointment on Friday with the IVF doctor. And
That's exciting.
And it's the same one that I had spoken to before.
That's awesome.
So, and again, like he was wonderful. It was nothing personal towards him. He gave me his honest, raw feedback, and I'm about to show him what's up. I'm joking, but
no,
yeah,
but you
awesome.
are.
Yeah.
And I hope he's like, let's fucking go. I'm proud of you. That's amazing.
So I'm stoked. And I think, this one, the first one, it'll be like a Zoom, because I think we've seen it like talk about things. How do we want this to roll? Things like that. So it's still honestly new for me and what the process looks like. Like Kylie is the one that's like, yeah, babe, this is called reciprocal IVF. And I'm more like, hey, just take my eggs out, put them in her. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Let's just make this happen. So we're super excited. And I think too, we just want to start seeing, is there certain things that we need to do? Because I remember when we briefly had spoken with him, a year and a half ago or so, there's like certain things, I can't remember like what they are, but let's say for example, it was like, hey, like you gotta hold back on white rice. I'm making it up, but there's certain things that you have to do because they start injecting me with hormones that will make my eggs bigger. So
Mm-hmm.
then when they, no medical terms here, people stay with me, but when they just pull them out, they're just easier to see and then they can grab them
Yeah.
and be able to get them out
Yep.
safely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're excited just to see what comes from that and kind of lead into that journey. It is an expensive journey.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is.
I don't know what ours will be, but just from people that I know, like it can be anywhere from like 25 to thirty thousand
Yep.
dollars. So
Yep.
we've kind of contemplated, wanting to do bang for our buck and just have two, because
Fuck yeah, let's
like let's just,
go.
because we have that option. Hey, you want one or two? Yeah, let's do two. So just because it's so expensive.
Yeah, correct.
Um, but I think if I
Never
have
mind.
twins,
Kids are expensive.
I'm gonna be like, Jordan, now I know what you mean. Yeah, like I haven't had friends come over in months. Like I can't hang
I
out.
remember one time you were like, "Hey, do you want to go to the lake house?" And I think it was soon after my second was born, or around that time. And I was like, "I love you so much, and there's no fucking way I can leave right now."
Yeah.
Like it's actually funny. We have some of our amazingly good friends. They just had their second. They went through IVF as well, and a number of my friends have went through IVF, and they had one, and we had our second, and then we were doing some meetups, just some hangouts, soon after our second was born, and they just had their second, and the wife called my wife, and she was like, "I'm so sorry that I made you drive to us. This is so difficult." I like it's just it's the amount of effort and time, like, and I don't know how people do it with twins. So if you do twins, you'll be experiencing something we never experienced. One is hard enough. Two is I can't even imagine. So God bless you if you do it, and I hope you do, because it also is like that would be double the cost.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
a lot.
That's so. Yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted and see if we decide to do that, or if we decide like we want to keep our sanity a little bit and just
Yeah.
spend $30,000 again later. We'll see. So, but either way, whatever it looks like, it's going to be awesome. Prior, whenever we found out that I had to lose the weight, Kylie had went in and they did a bunch of different tests, and they scraped the uterus and make sure like, hey, your birthing canal, is it good? Are we good to go? And like she was already like A+ good to go. So
Good.
obviously we'll check her out again to make sure, but like that's good. So now I
Yeah.
need the stamp of approval too. So I'm excited. What was your second question?
Is
About
this your lifestyle now? Like,
weight loss?
are you locked in? Not even just weight loss, just fitness,
Fitness.
like nutrition, exercise. Like, is
You
it your
know,
lifestyle yet?
I think yes and no. So I think the only reason I would say no is because there's still so much that I need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because my journey so far has been so heavy on the weight loss side of things, I haven't had a chance to really dive into, like we kind of mentioned earlier, like toning, or maybe get to a point, for me, I want to lose maybe another 30 to 50 pounds. I think what I've been saying, which my wife has been like, no, that's going to be too skinny. I like that you have a little fluff on you. I've been saying I want to get to like 199, just to like
Yeah, just to
get
do
out of
it.
the two. So that's about, 51 pounds if we're being technical. But even if I'm around like 215, like I'm okay with that. I'm a little bit taller. Sure, I'm sure on the American scale, it'll still say I'm morbidly obese or something, because that scale's been wrong for years, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it'll be a different change for me, where I've only been focusing on like weight loss and food and going to the gym to lose weight, where I really want to be able to enhance, like, hey, like, let's do these movements because it's going to be good for your long-term mobility, or hey, if you start lifting heavier, this is going to be good for that, where I haven't really dived into those different types of sectors and what it can do and benefit for my body.
Yeah.
So I want to get there, and I think that I will. But really for me, the mindset piece, and I keep mentioning that just because like in October to December, I was like out of it. I think I told you that I had gained 30 pounds back, and it's crazy how when you're not moving your body and then your mindset's like, I can't, I'm too tired. I don't want to cook dinner. I'm just going to order something. And like you stay in this like almost a gray cloud over you. So getting out of that's tough.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the next point I was going to bring up. I said, you texted me and you said, before we got on this podcast, you said, I think an important thing to bring up is my weight gain from October to December and how I completely fell off. You said my mental health spiral took over, and I had to dig out of it. I gained 30 pounds during that time. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I think beginning, okay, so fast forward to January 1st, I was 291 pounds again. I think after we had completed real life series, I think I had gotten down to like 280 or
Hmm.
something like that.
Yep.
So I was making great progress. I think my lowest in summer of 2024, I got down to like 270
Hmm.
and then just like gained all that back. And really for me, and like, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this where sure it'd be great. Like, you think, hey, everything's fine and dandy. Like, hey, yeah, I'm going to work out. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do this. But like, I also can understand how like, there's some days where at my old job, I'd get off work and I would just be so mentally drained that I'd be
Hmm.
like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to work out. I feel like shit about myself because I had a boss who would tell us that we are shit, like things like that. Like I just no mental clarity was there. Um, and I think it really took me a while to understand that the two go hand in hand. And that's where for me, a lot of times my now, aside of course wanting to lose weight, it keeps me more mentally in a great spot, just moving my body, eating right than anything else. So yeah, that time was tough. I had quit my job in beginning of October. I took about 2.5 months off. In my mind, I was like, sweet, I can focus on going to the gym more. I can do all these things. But I just got in this state of like not really doing anything, unsure of what did I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go? I think I can speak for a lot of people, like the corporate America spiral. Like, most people are like, no, I'm not doing this because I love it. I'm doing this because I need to pay my bills.
Yeah.
So just hit this really bad spiral and I couldn't get out of it. And the idea of working out or moving my body, I was like, I'm just too tired to do it. Like I didn't have it and I felt like shit all the time. And then something, I wasn't even weighing myself in that period either. I was like, no, I'm not even gonna look because I just knew it
That's
was,
a dangerous game to play
yeah,
when you're like, I'm just going to ignore it
because I knew,
because yeah.
yeah. And then something clicked in me and I was like, okay, like I think in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna get on the scale, I'm gonna be over 300 pounds again and I'm gonna lose it. And it was like I have it in my phone, but it was like 293 or 294. And I was like, okay, I have to get like this was a sign like, hey, you're not there, but you're close. But once you hop back on before you're over it again. So just had like a little mental reset and wanted to get back into it because it was tough, man. And I think, a lot of people, a lot of influencers, not you specifically at all, but we'll just get into like, yeah, you just go and work out and everything's fine. But it's like no one's talking about how hard it can be with things that are going on in your life or seasons of life and things that are difficult and how hard it can be to truly show up for yourself in those moments.
Hmm.
But now, like, I've been able to trick my mindset, not even trick, but it's just the truth of like, hey, this is a tough thing that I'm going through. Let's say, like, if in October I had this mindset, hey, this job was really tough for my better mental health. I'm going to leave this job. I want to stay mentally strong and be able to look and be clear headed. Yeah, let me still continue to journal in the mornings. Let me still go work out. Let me go move my body. Let me hit the 7,500 steps and see what's next for me. But instead, it was just like, I don't know. I guess I'll get on LinkedIn. I guess I'll apply,
Yeah.
easy apply because you don't have to fill out all this stuff. But yeah, it's just crazy. So,
You know, I think what's really important from analyzing this and looking at that time frame, and this is another like all in all out moment, right? Where it's like I'm either doing it 100% or I'm not going to do anything at all. When we recognize that we have different seasons in life, some are going to be more stressful, more difficult, some are going to be happier, more free time, different seasons. I think it's really helpful to have an objective minimum
mm,
of what I'm going to do. And like in the most difficult seasons, this is still my minimum. And I think when people hear that, they might think, oh, but it's a minimum. Is it even worth it? And it's like, yeah, it's fuck. This is why I talk about walking so much. Like your minimum should be, I'm just going to walk. I'm just getting my steps in.
absolutely.
Like it's because, and this feeds into everything because if you can hit that minimum, number one, you're accomplishing something. You're like every win makes a huge difference, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. When you can check it off the box and say, yes, I've done this. I've hit my minimum. It gives you the confidence to know at least I'm doing something.
100%.
And when people understand the importance and the actual outrageous benefits of just walking, getting your steps in, it all of a sudden won't seem like they're failing.
Mhm.
It won't seem like I'm not doing enough. Like, no, I'm doing an amazing job right now, which will then feed into your nutrition. It will feed into other aspects as well. I've found that as long as you can hit that minimum, you're gonna end up doing more than your minimum because all of a sudden it's worth it. Whereas if you're like, yeah, I don't have a minimum, I'm just not going to do anything. The hardest, it's momentum, right? It's like if you can keep the stone rolling just a little bit, it's great. But if it stops, if you get to a point where the stone has stopped rolling, you've got to use all of your effort to get it rolling a little bit. It's way more difficult. So if you can have a minimum just to keep the boulder rolling a little bit, it makes a huge, huge, huge difference.
I couldn't agree more. And I think too, like to second that would be also whatever you could be going through, the walk, it allows you to clear your head and think about things,
Mm-hmm.
positive and negative, whether you have something amazing that happened or something horrific. Like it allows you to be able to maybe have some self-talk, maybe, run through some of your thoughts and be able to
Mm-hmm.
get some of that out, which I think people oftentimes that are into walking all the time that they benefit that or from that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's also you brought up how you stopped weighing yourself, and that I think people don't have to weigh themselves every day. I don't weigh myself every day at this point. It's because it's my lifestyle now, and I know what
hmm
to do. But if it's part of the journey that you're still on, and you notice yourself being like, I don't want to weigh myself because you're scared of what it's going to say, or because you haven't been doing what you think you should be doing, that makes it infinitely more important to step on the fucking scale. Because as
yeah,
you notice, like once you stepped on it, that was you taking that first step to get the boulder moving again.
yeah,
That was that. It's like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You know what? Fuck it. Now I have to. That was you digging your heels in, putting your hands on the boulder, and like, now let's move it forward. You needed that to say, all right, it's fucking time. Now let's go. Whereas I very much believe for most people, if they don't completely abandon the scale, it'll be enough of a motivational factor, enough of a presence of mind to say, just get my steps in, drink my water, hit
hmm
my fiber. It'll be just enough. Whereas if you ignore it completely, then it's like, all right, well, out of sight, out of mind. I just don't have to focus on it anymore.
100%. And so I was starting to chuckle when you said that because yesterday, so big mistake I made. Quick side story. Costco has the Rice Krispie, box. It comes with like 60, but it's like the minis, but it's like $15. Like, yeah, and a lot of times I'll have one like post workout with like a
Yeah.
banana or a protein shake, whatever. And yesterday I slammed like seven of those things throughout the day. I was like working and I was like, hmm. So this morning I was like, oh man, let's see what this did. And actually, I didn't do anything,
Yeah.
but depending on the day, it could have done some damage. But I was like mentally preparing. I was like, okay, I know, like, I might be up now because I just slammed seven mini Rice Krispie treats,
Yeah. And it wouldn't have done damage, but it could affect the scale. And you might not see it today, but you could see it tomorrow or the next day, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes time. In the same way, like sometimes you could literally fast for 24 hours and the scale could go up the next day. You could
Yeah.
literally not eat. And then the scale, for any number of reasons. In the same way, like sometimes for me, I'll have huge meals, like I'll eat like an asshole, and the next day I'll be down a pound or two.
That's so weird.
Sometimes it'll happen, and but then I'll see it on the scale two or
Two
three
days
days later,
later.
right? It's not. This is why you need to speak scale language. It's not
Hmm.
logical. It's not what we would expect, and that's why weighing yourself more will teach you. It's you immerse yourself when you want to learn a language. The best way is not fucking Duolingo or whatever. You go to the country and you learn it and you sit in very uncomfortable situations. You can't fully express yourself. Like you can't be as humorous as you would be. Like you're trying to. It's very difficult when you immerse yourself, but that's the best way to learn. If you want to learn how to speak scale language, you fucking weigh yourself every day, and it can be uncomfortable, but you don't. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you're fat. It doesn't mean you're gross. It just you're learning the language. You learn what it
And
says.
and that's what I think for me that truly once I could learn, I feel like I still have a lot more of that scale language to learn, but
Yeah.
I've learned enough now that has really kept me going to where it's like we mentioned before, I would be just down and out, like, nope, nope, gained 4 pounds. This isn't working. I've been doing this for a month, like whatever, I'm out. Versus now, like it really like kind of blocked the food noise for me too.
Mm.
Or at least, relationship with my body where I understand now, like, usually like I make steak like once a week. And I can tell like on the days that I end up like making steak, I actually gain a little bit weight the next
Hmm.
2 days for some reason. But then if I have I can't think of an example now, but maybe if I drink or something, of course, I'm going to gain weight. But if I'm very locked in and maybe just made sure I was in my calories in those next 2, 3 days, I really see the difference on the scale. So just all these different little things that really I keep in my head of like, oh, like this makes sense. Okay, wait, I'm going to clock this because I did go on vacation last week or I did drink the last 2 days. This would make sense for a fluctuation. And there's sometimes it still doesn't make sense, but it at least allows me to tell a story that I know I can follow to where there will be a whoosh again.
Yeah. Let me see. When you drink, do you also tend to eat more?
No, because I've been drinking a lot less this year.
Oh, I thought you were saying you've been drinking a lot more.
No time, I'm already blacked out. No, I'm joking. No, I've been drinking a lot less this year, so I haven't got the typical like munchies. But typically, yeah, in the past,
So
I'd be
like
like,
when you drink, typically, is there an increase in caloric like during while you're drinking, or is it just like I'm just drinking alcohol, I'm not eating extra food?
I would say yes and no. I think it just depends on what we got going on. But I
Yeah.
think if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, I would say absolutely because I'm running through the Whataburger drive-through at 2
Yeah,
a.m.
yeah.
You know,
The reason I ask is because for me, and alcohol will dehydrate you, right? So alcohol will dehydrate you. And so I've noticed if I'm just drinking and I'm not eating like an asshole on top of it, I'll actually weigh less the next day because I've dehydrated myself. I've had a huge whoosh essentially because I'm peeing out a lot. You know, it's like if you drink a lot of alcohol, you pee a lot. It will dehydrate you. Whereas if I drink alcohol and then I'm going Whataburger or I'm getting pizza, fries, whatever, then I'll weigh more. But I'll be interested to hear over the next 3 to 6 months for you. Take note of what your eating habits are like while you're drinking and then notice what the scale says the next day. Because usually, like if I drink, if I having tequila, whatever it is, the next day, I weigh less. But then the subsequent days, I'll get hydrated again. I'll drink more.
up a little bit.
So it is an interesting thing to be aware of. But we all do respond differently, and then your body will respond differently as you lose body fat, and as you change, your body changes, and the scale will speak a different language as well.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that. It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'll have to see. Yeah, and just for me too, like it's so interesting just on the drinking topic. Like this year, I just feel like my body has been like rejecting it more. Like I just haven't really like even now, like maybe I'll drink once a week. Now that it's summer, maybe twice a week, like in the summer or something like, oh, we're going to someone's pool or we're gonna go golfing or whatever. But it's just like my body, like I can have like 1 or 2 drinks, cocktails or 2 beers, whatever. My body's like, no,
How old are you now?
32. I'm gonna be 33 next month.
It's 30s.
Dude,
Something happens. You hit 30s, it's like, oh shit.
I, I don't know. Yeah, it is catching
I
up to me.
swear. I swear something happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're old, but something happens
Something's
at 30.
going on.
Yeah, something happens. um, you texted me and you also said you thought it would be worthwhile to discuss your soiree with 75 Hard. I thought of it last night when I was like taking notes on this. I literally I was trying to spell it.
I don't even know what that
didn't-
means, I'll be honest.
I think I'm using it incorrectly, to be honest with you, because as I was Googling it, it was like, it's like a nighttime event, but like, I don't know. Like it's SOIREE. Anyway, I thought it sounded good.
It does.
75 Hard.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot to say about this.
Oh, I know.
And I'll start by saying I actually really like the creator of 75 Hard, Andy Frisella. I really like him. I've DM'd him numerous times. Like we have a very good friendship. I don't like 75 Hard,
Yeah.
but let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back so I started 75 Hard, I think January 1st or 2nd or,
Almost a year after we stopped working.
Yeah.
Actually, a year from when we started working together.
Yeah. So the very cliche, the New Year's start. And that was right after what we had just talked about, my whole just like mental lapse, I feel like in October to December with the gym and my fitness and eating right, things of that nature. And
Explain
let
what
me
75
answer
Hard
when
is.
I was there. Okay, so
Explain what it is.
Okay. 75 Hard. So you have to do 2 45-minute workouts a day. One of them has to be outside. You read 10 pages of a non-fictional book. I think there is a part, I didn't do this part, but I think it's like cold shower 5 or 10 minutes, but pretty much the basis is the 2 workouts, 45 minutes a day, no cheat meals the
No
entire
cheat meals.
time,
You have to hit your calories and macros on point.
every single
If you miss
day.
them, you have to start over.
Yeah.
It's
If you miss one day, whether you're sick or it doesn't matter, you have to start back on day one. So you could be on day 64, get the flu, and you got to start back on day
Yep.
one.
So
So
it's pretty restrictive
pretty
program.
restrictive,
Very
pretty
intense.
unrealistic
Yes.
expectations. But I think it was like I was being, looking back now, like I was being so lazy those last couple months that I was like, I wanted to kick myself into high gear. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like I know how to work out. I know how to eat right. 75 hard. I'm going to read this non-fictional book and I'm going to kill it. And I made it like what, like I think like 25 days. And then our household just got, the winter flu came through and I was like, there's no way. I mean, I was walking in the snow. It was snowing during that time. And I was like outside, like, yeah, I'm outside doing my 45 minutes. Like, I was just like, why am I doing this? But everyone's like cheering me on. So I think I was overcompensating for lacking what I was doing or the lack thereof from October to December of the year before. And I thought because of my lack or because of my laziness, I needed to step it into high gear, but that was fucking wrong. And I can see it in your, put your eyebrows down. I can see it in your eyes.
Well, I saw you. I don't know if you remember, you posted about it. You were like, I'm going to do 75 hard.
Yeah.
And I texted you immediately.
Yeah, you did.
Well, first I liked the post because I was like, I'm going to support you. But then, do you remember that conversation that we had?
You're like, hey, like, it's gonna support you, but like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Like, why not go back to what works?
I was like, are you doing 75 hard? You're like, yeah. And I was like, why are you doing 75 hard? And you said, I feel like I need something to be consistent with. I need to show myself I can be consistent. And then I have right here the text that I followed up with. I want to read it out loud to you. Okay. So you said you needed to do something to prove that you can be consistent, right? And immediately I'm like, you're picking the most unsustainable thing to prove that you can be consistent. So I said this, and it's a direct quote. I said, listen, it's 100% up to you. You know yourself best as long as you're being objective. Personally, I think you've done incredible going almost a full year of outrageous consistency and extraordinary progress. Having a little drop off for the past 6 weeks around the holidays and quitting your job isn't strange or weird or bad. I also don't think you need an extreme program to prove you know how to be consistent. I think you can bring ruthless consistency to any program regardless of how much it requires of you. And as you know, simple, standard, basic programs tend to be more effective long term. I'll never tell you what you can or can't do, but I will say, when I saw you were gearing up for 75 hard, I immediately recognized the pattern that many fall into, thinking they all of a sudden need to do the most extreme program in the world to prove to themselves they can do it, when in reality, that doesn't actually prove anything.
And in the moment, like I remember thinking, like, no, like that's not why I'm doing it. Like I'm just trying something different, you know? And then like now, just in a complete better headspace with everything. Gym's flowing, the consistency's flowing how it should. We're in a deficit, all these things. I'm like, yeah, I just was trying to overcompensate and think I needed to do something completely different when instead I just needed to keep going. And that's why like a lot of times, like in any post that I do post, I'm like, keep going because I can't stress that enough. Like people are just so quick, whether it is because of weight loss or because, you know, hey, your kids kept you up all night, whatever the reason is, like we all have a reason we can find to stop so easily. It is harder for people to give the excuse to keep going though, is what I find. So,
you know, it's, if I do say so myself, I think the most genius part about that text message to you was discussing how you can be ruthlessly consistent with even the most basic program. You don't need an intense program to be ruthlessly consistent. And I think if we're looking at the vast majority of people, instead of trying to do the program that's going to make you work out twice a day, one of which is outside, regardless of the weather, being perfect with your nutrition, not having any quote unquote bad foods, all this stuff, how about you be ruthlessly consistent with your steps every day? You be ruthlessly consistent with hitting your protein, hitting your fiber, ruthlessly consistent with weighing yourself every morning. How about let's just start with that? Just those few things. Let's just be ruthlessly consistent with the most basic and the most impactful. And I feel like if someone can do that for a year, dear Lord, that is going to completely change your life. Whereas the programs that are the most intense usually have a day time frame, whether it's a 75-day challenge or a 30-day challenge or a 60-day challenge or a 7-day challenge. It's very enticing because it's like, oh man, so I'm going to be perfect for this amount of time
Yeah.
and then it's going to completely change my life. It's like, I don't know anyone ever in the history of literally ever who's done a 7-day program, a 14-day program, a 21-day program, 30-day program, who's been like, this completely changed my life. Because
Yeah.
once it's over,
Then
if
what?
they do get through it, if they do, which they usually don't, they revert back to exactly what they were doing before. And I'm not going to say there's zero value in those programs because I think there can be some value, but I think people overestimate the value of proving to themselves that they are tough enough to do something for a short period of time. What does that mean long term? I don't think being really tough for 7 days or 14 days or 21 days or 75 days practically means anything in regard to your actual life. Whereas if you can do something for a year with a ruthless consistency for a year, the most basic things, that will have a far greater impact on your life as a whole than being able to do something super intense for 7, 14, 21 days.
Yeah, and I think like because you're not helping yourself long term and you're not changing. Sure, you're changing for 7 days or let's say even for 3 months, but then you're just going to resort back to what's not working and we're going to go through this again. So you're not
Mm-hmm.
really changing your habits. You're conforming for 30 days or whatever, and then going right back to the bullshit that doesn't work. So I think, and that is such an area where, people that don't know who you are, haven't found your page, don't know what the inner circle are like, even even for me before I really knew you or what you were about, like there's all this noise on social media and I know you're very aware of it, like just hey yeah, do this 30 days this and you'll lose so much weight and you'll feel great, or hey yeah, you got to eat 8 freaking egg whites and never have seasoning again, and no, you can't eat fried chicken again or you'll die. Like there's all this different stuff where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
so what do I do then? Like, what is the right way to follow? And people just aren't aware of how simple it can actually be,
Mm-hmm.
and how, yes, do have to make some quick changes in your life, but it can conjoin with your life. It's not, you don't have to completely change your life 180 as far as your day to day goes. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
maybe your family, you have cheeseburger night every freaking Thursday. Okay, cool. So on Thursday, let's switch up your calories a little bit during the day. So then, like, hey, I'm ready to knock out cheeseburger night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just learning those little things that can go so far.
Yeah. I also think people, let's say someone wants to change their life. Let's say they want to start losing weight and being healthier, and they look at Thursday cheeseburger night with their kids, with their spouse, whatever. They're overestimating the quote unquote damage of that cheeseburger night and underestimating how much the rest of the fucking week is going to play into their results. They're like, "Oh, I can't do cheeseburger night." It's like you could crush cheeseburger night. But what the fuck are you? Let's say cheeseburger night's Thursday. What are you doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yep.
Like, and you don't need to be perfect on those days, but they look at that one fucking thing, that one piece of enjoyment, and they massively overestimate how damaging that's going to be, and they underestimate how much impact the rest of the week can have. And then all of a sudden, like, well, I've got to get rid of cheeseburger night. You should fucking keep cheeseburger night, and you
100%.
should just be way more consistent the rest of the fucking week.
I had a similar conversation. Someone had DM me a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, appreciate, all your motivation. Like, I'm on the boat right now and I'm not even drinking. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. Because the first thing I'm doing on the boat is popping a drink. Like, that just goes hand in hand. And like, but they were more saying it just because like they were limiting themselves. And I was like, hey, like, I'm proud of you. Like, that's stronger than I would ever have to be. Like, I think you could just work that in. Like, if you want to have a seltzer, maybe you're used to drinking beers and those are heavy on calories, maybe that's when you go to a seltzer. If you want to be more cautious, like,
Mm-hmm.
don't take it away. Just find an alternative.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
maybe it is, tequila water and some Mios or some Crystal Light packets where
Yeah.
it's low on calories. Now, be careful because obviously those 12 ounces of that versus 12 ounces of a seltzer is going to hit you completely different. But just was more saying like, hey, you don't have to limit yourself
Yes.
here.
Correct. Correct. You don't have to deprive yourself.
Deprive.
You don't have to completely eliminate. And statistically, just looking at long-term success outcomes, the people who completely eliminate, completely remove, they don't do as well. Just statistically, it's just it's a numbers game. The people who are like, I'm not eating any sugar. I don't know anybody who's legitimately cut out actual sugar for long periods of time. Ever. The people are like, I'm not going to have sugar ever again. Good fucking luck. And even if you are successful with that, that sucks.
Like, that's boring.
You're not going to have
Well,
birthday cake. You're not going to have like anything. Like that's crazy to
Like,
me.
why are we doing that?
Yes. Makes
So
no sense.
I totally agree.
Okay, I have a couple more questions. You said, and this is a quote actually from your Instagram. You said, weight loss isn't a punishment. It is a gift to your future self. What were you thinking when you said that?
When I look back at a lot of the things that I post, it's interesting because sure, it might be for other people to read, but often, even yesterday is a great example of my reel. Like I'm talking about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it as before, I would make it such a punishment for a bunch of these reasons that we mentioned today. Like, hey, if I go on a vacation, I can't eat bad. I'm not going to be able to drink anymore. I'm not going to, be able to have the foods that I want anymore. Uh, I'm not going to be able to hang out with my friends and do whatever. I was always just thinking about calories, calories, calories. Like my next move was calories. So I think, as far as the weight loss is not a punishment, it's a gift, is really tapping into if you really put some time and effort into making some simple changes, the gift is, hey, guess what? I'm not on blood pressure medicine anymore. That is something that I was heavily having to rely on for 3 or 4 years, which I remember when I got put on it, my mom was like really concerned about me because I was never a kid that was taking daily medications for any reason. And I'm blessed that my family is also that same way. So she was like, so you have to take this every day and then like refill the prescription and then continue to take it. And she's like, you need it. Like, what are we doing? Like, are you okay? Like, blood pressure is the silent killer. So for me, like, that's really what I was tapping into. Like, it's a gift because there's so many things that you can get from it. Like, I've never been able to sit here and cross my legs.
That's fucking
Well, I
awesome.
mean, it's been years, probably
Yeah.
10, 15 years that I have not been able to cross my legs. So like, those are the small gifts. Or now I'm getting out of the shower. I used to have to put, my leg on the tub to put lotion on. Now I'm just like full body flexible bending down. I'm like, whoa, like that's cool. Or even sitting down in a chair and tying my shoes, bending over, it's almost like I can't breathe. So I'm holding my breath and tying my shoe. And now
Mm,
I can just bend down and be like, hey, Jordan, yeah, how's it going? And tie my shoe. You know what I
I
mean?
love that.
So those are the gifts that you see that people don't really realize or that
Mm-hmm.
resonate that outside of just losing the weight. And I think
Mm.
one of the first ones that I ever posted was the seatbelt on a plane.
Yeah.
So I hit a point when I got so overweight, I could not buckle the seatbelt. And I remember like I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to tell the flight attendant because I know they bring the extra little thing. So I would like fake put it on
Yeah.
and like hide the clip you clip it into it. I would just act like it was clipped because I was so embarrassed. And I
Mm.
remember the flight where like I buckled again. I was like, oh shit.
That's fucking
Weight loss is a
awesome.
gift in
That's
so many
amazing.
different ways.
I love that. That's
So
congratulations.
thank
That's
you.
exciting.
Well now we're at a point. No, I got some slack. We're
Yeah,
good
let's
now,
go.
but
Oh, soon you'll be holding a kid, God willing, you'll be holding
or
kids.
two.
Yeah.
Shit.
You also said, I love this one. You said you don't have to hate where you're at to want more.
Mm.
What do you mean by that?
I think everyone can be in different body compositions, different goals, different, whether it's toning or losing weight or whatever. So I really got that from from just me and my wife's situation. She's someone right now where like she has a great body in my opinion, but she wants to tone. Like there's areas in her body where like, hey, she wants her quad muscles to be more defined. She wants to be more comfortable with dumbbells because right now she really only feels comfortable in machines and things of that nature. And people all the time will come up to her and they're like, oh my gosh, like you're perfect. You have a perfect body, this. And she's like, no, I don't. Or just not even in a mean way or in a rude way, but they're like, oh, like, why do you want to work out and do all this? Like, you look great. And it's like, hey, like, you can look fucking great and want more for yourself. Now, I think that there's a healthy balance of that too, right? Not saying to overdo it, but I think it doesn't matter how you look or how you feel. Like, it's up to that person and what they're doing to want to be able to make changes for themselves. So someone might look great to you, but yeah, maybe there's a couple things we want to tone up here. Maybe there's a couple things we want to change and restrict ourselves from or not restrict ourselves from. So,
Is as I read it, what I really liked about it and the way that I interpret it is just because you're working to improve yourself doesn't mean you hate yourself.
yeah.
Right? Like sometimes you're working to improve yourself because you love yourself. I think that's actually the goal. Is like you don't just because you're going to the gym and eating well, it's like it doesn't have to come from a place of hate. It can come from a place of I'm doing this because I love myself, because I want the best for myself and my family and my friends and my community. I'm not hating myself skinny. I'm not hating myself strong. I'm not hating myself into being fit. I'm loving myself into doing this.
That's a good point. I
That's how
like
I
that.
interpreted it, and that's how I think that should be the goal.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone starts there. I think it's okay if you're at a point in which, like, listen, there are people you would never tell someone who's depressed, like, just don't be depressed. You would never
Yeah.
tell someone who doesn't love themselves, like, I don't think it makes sense to be like, you should just love yourself. I think it's like telling an alcoholic, like, well, just don't be an alcoholic, or it's like
Someone
it
with
doesn't help.
anxiety, calm
Just
down.
don't have anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Just don't be worried.
Chill.
Like, okay, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair or right or helpful to tell someone, just love yourself, right? I think that
Mm.
it's actually, it causes more harm than good. So there might be people who don't love themselves. There are people who don't love themselves. I think on some level, we all struggle with this in some way, shape, or form on some level of the spectrum. So there are some people, I think, where at the beginning, maybe they're doing it because they don't love themselves. Maybe they are doing it coming from a place of,
100%.
I don't love the way I am right now. I don't love myself and I need to change that. But the goal should be you get to a point in which, like, yeah, I do love myself now. I've proven to myself that I'm worthwhile. I've proven to myself that I can do hard things. I've proven to myself that I'm worth it. And then that's when it shifts from doing it to a place of hate, to doing it from a place of love. But for me, I think a lot of people look at those who are taking care of their health and their fitness and think, oh, they must hate themselves. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe they're doing it because they love
Because
themselves.
they love themselves and they're actually showing up for themselves. I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting that like you saw a different perspective because obviously like I don't post much. I know I need to post more and you've given me shit for like, why aren't you posting more? People love it when you post. Why aren't you posting more? And things like that. But when I do, I always try to like make it whatever I'm trying to resonate with to where it can be more broad and like you have that example that was a takeaway from it. Someone can have a complete different example, but it's both positive.
Hmm.
That's something that I really try to hone in on. Speaking of posting, I still have imposter syndrome. I got to get better at that. I got to post more.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to?
I do. I think I get in my head about, well, who cares what I have to say? Or like, who am I to tell you to go walk 7,500 steps a day? Like, it's just because I'm doing it doesn't mean that you should care what I say. So I just get in my head about it, I think, and something I want to be better at, though, for sure.
You know, and this is a topic we can absolutely go down, but you bring up an interesting point. Like, I know you better than most of the people listening.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say like I know you, but like I consider you family, and like
Yeah.
I know you decently well.
Yeah.
Um, Even just what you said specifically around like why would someone listen to me tell them to go walk, da da da. This is something I see a lot of coaches struggling with on social media, where they almost feel like they have to present themselves as an expert,
Hmm.
and they feel like they should be the one telling people what to do and da da da. And I think that creates a level of imposter syndrome, because like
Hmm.
you're taking on this role of expert that no one's putting on you, but you're putting it on yourself. Which, for whatever it's worth, that's one of the reasons why I never call myself an expert.
Mm.
I never am saying like you need to do this. I'm an expert in this. And it's also one of the reasons why I'm very quick to correct myself if I've made a mistake, which happens frequently. I make mistakes, like every single one of us.
Yeah.
When you remove that idea that you need to present yourself as an expert, and you can simply just say, I'm speaking about what I'm doing. I'm speaking to me and myself. I'm giving thoughts and ideas on things that have helped me, and you remove the expert part of it, all of a sudden the pressure is dramatically reduced. You don't need to be an expert, and you don't need to present yourself as one. You could just be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Are you doing it with me?
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
it.
and I think yesterday was such a good example of that. Like I took that little quick reel of me, didn't do anything to it, just like posted it, didn't think about it. I was like, shit, like I'm almost crying in this video, but like this is real. This is really how my emotions feel about losing 100 pounds. Like it is such a big deal to me for so many different reasons. Like I want that to be felt. And like I said, I've never had so many people that were just like, wow, like you are inspiring me to keep going. Like I still have 70 pounds more to get to where you are, but thank you for reminding me why I'm doing this for myself. And like
Mm-hmm.
that makes it like everything where I'm like, see, like, why do I overthink things?
Yeah.
Just post this shit, you
Just tell
know?
the truth.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when I've had a bunch of younger people say I want to be a motivational speaker. I'm like, that's the wrong way to go about it. People said to you yesterday, like, and many times, you're inspirational, you're motivational, not because you're trying to be a motivational speaker, but because you've done something that's inspiring. You've done something that is motivational, and then you can talk about it. Is you didn't go into it thinking like, I want to be a motivational speaker. What can I say? You went into it for yourself thinking, I need to do something for me. And that thing ended up being very motivational and very inspiring. And then you talk about it, and that is inherently motivational and inspiring to people. But when people say, I want to be a motivational speaker, now they have to think, well, what can I think of? What can I say that's motivating and inspiring? It's like, that's the wrong way to think about it.
Yeah.
You have to do it for you first and then speak about your journey. And from there, that will become inspiring. But for the people who are like, I want to be a motivational speaker, I want to be motivational on social media, it's like, then do something.
Yeah. Like
Do
motivational
something
about
motivational.
what? What is
Yeah.
it that you are tailoring that to versus just any topic, like
Yeah,
anything?
exactly.
Pepperoni pizza, it's great for you. Let me tell you why. It tastes
Listen,
like, you know,
there's
like what are we?
there's no shortage of people on social media saying like, you can do it, you've got this, but it's like, what's the story?
Yeah.
What have you done? Like, and make it more specific. Don't just generally say you're great. Show us, do
Yeah.
something. And that's what you've done. That you don't need to worry about being anything other than you. And when that's all you've got to do, you just got to show up as you. There's no imposter syndrome because that's it. You're just showing up as who you are.
Yeah, I know. I got to tap into that more. I think just around the community itself, that's really just been like, dude, like, thank you. Like, just not even like that I need praise. It's not about the praise for me. It's more when I'm hearing how because of my motivation that I've kept going. And even when I feel like I'm lacking it myself some days, how they're like, dude, like if it wasn't for you continuously posting and like just being a normal person that has an 8 to 5 going to work and like going through the struggles, like you make me see like we can do this too versus the big time content creator or someone who doesn't have a 9 to 5 and doesn't have to go through the daily struggles of those things. Like, hey, like thank you, which is great because I do feel like for the longest time I was following people. It's like, yeah, like walk 25,000 steps on a Wednesday. It only takes 4 hours. I'm like, dude, when? Like I have to leave for work at 6 a.m. I don't get home till 7 p.m. Like when, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
I have 2 more questions. All right.
Okay.
Number 1, what are you scared of?
So one thing I'm actually really scared of is freaking snakes. I will be honest.
Oh, did you see
I
the
don't
one
know
in
if
my
you wanted
garage
like
the
an
other day?
in-depth. I did see that, and I was,
It was huge.
oh, yeah, me and snakes. When I was a kid, I had like like those assemblies where like the reptile man comes. You
Oh
ever
yeah,
have
yeah,
those?
yeah.
And
I love those.
I would like raise my hand, but so would the other like 50 kids in the room. So I was like, I'm not gonna get chosen. Of course, my hand does get chosen. It's when they had like the Britney Spears snake that was there, like the big yellow
Oh, the
one.
huge like anaconda.
Yeah, and it like went around my neck, and I was like, oh, and I've like hated snakes ever since.
That was enough to like that changed you. Wow, I would have thought you'd become
Cause
more snake friendly from that.
no,
You're like, fuck this.
because it's
This is
also like a
terrible.
texture thing too. Like they're just this slimy, like they just look like they have a bad motive. They're like, I'm coming slowly.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah,
like,
I feel
no.
that.
I don't know if you wanted like an in-depth what I'm scared of, or was just anything.
I mean, you could choose if you also want to give a different one. You're welcome to, but snakes is a legit fear.
No, snakes is a fear for sure. I think if I had to give an in-depth one,
You don't have to if you don't want. What are you
I'm
excited
scared.
about?
What am I excited about? I'm still working on it, but it's going to be like an apparel company.
Okay.
Is what it is, and it's called Easy Guest. I'm still so much to do behind the scenes still, and it's so interesting because I've been trying to dive in. One thing that I've been struggling with internally is finding like a passion, right? Like I'm like, okay, sure, I'm going to work every day, I'm paying my bills, but like I was telling my wife this the other day, if someone gave me $10 million and was like, hey, here you go, like go find your passion, follow your passion and do something with it, I would sit there with a $10 million and not know what that is. And that's been bothering me. And yeah, this just came to me like one night. I just was thinking about it and I couldn't sleep. And I stayed up for like 4 hours, put this whole plan in my notes of like what the company would be. So it really something new for me. I don't know anything about having an LLC. I don't know anything about a website. So I got the website domain and have a lot to figure out. So it's going to be challenging my mind in a bunch of different ways. I have no idea of what I'm doing. So I'm excited just to tap into that and see what it looks like. But the motivation for me was like putting all my favorite things together that I like. So think like golf meets gym meets airport lounge meets like brunch. So like those are like, hey, like, yeah, you can wear a shirt to great polo to go golf in, or like, hey, you're going to the gym. Here's a good gym t-shirt or shorts or things of that nature. Or like, hey, you want to look good while like you're going to the airport, but still stay cozy. Like maybe you're in a Amex lounge or whatever. Like something versatile that like we could grow with versus hey, like this is a golf brand only. Like I
Yeah.
wanted it to be like I'm very versatile in many different things. So that's what I want this to be too.
I like that.
Yeah.
Did you paid for the LLC?
Yeah, I did.
Isn't that fun that you have to pay to be
It was like way more than
record?
I expected. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
it's like
Yep.
$500.
Yep.
I was like, oh.
And there's a lot more payments coming.
I was like, I better really like the name. But it was one of those, like, once I had it in my mind, I was so excited about it. I was like, I need to lock this in before someone else steals the name.
Yep. Yep.
Which is
But you got it.
crazy.
You paid for it.
Yeah.
You're good. Yep.
Yeah.
You got to pay that every year. And
We'll have to talk more about this because I'm like, what do you mean pay for what every year? See, here we go.
yeah, you
Here
gotta
we
pay
go,
for it
baby.
And then wait until you start like really bringing it in, and then all of a sudden the government's like, all right, now you've got to give us your money.
Like, hey, I'm glad you're making money, but it's actually not for you.
That's exactly right. Yep. Yep, that's exactly right. And you got to make sure that you don't spend it, and you got to have enough for it. And yeah, don't get me started on that one. Let me ask you this. This is I don't want to tell you where I'm going with this because I'm interested. Is there anything that I'm going to say going on in the world, but I think when people hear that, they all of a sudden think like
Politics
horrific
or
things.
something.
I don't necessarily mean politics. Is there anything going on in the world? Doesn't have to be politics. That's just one aspect. Is there anything going on in the world that you would be like, yeah, I would love to like really share my opinion on that on social media? It does not have to be political. It doesn't have to be war. That's, I think, but like, is there anything in the world where you're like, this is really important to me? Like, I really want to share my thoughts on this.
I mean, I think the biggest thing, and I feel like there is so many of these in different variations, but like just really explaining to people that are in a weight loss journey how easy it actually, I say easy, but how easier it can be with the mindset. So like, I'm sure maybe you've seen my reel. Like I posted, this is from, I worked with a guy a couple years ago, Seth Wickstrom. So his Instagram is like Seth Wickstrom Fitness. He was probably the first person that kind of eliminated some food noise for me because he did a great job with like finding great recipes and you can still continue to eat whatever you want, but like let me show you how I made it calorie friendly. So I posted one of his recipes, which was the blueberry Greek yogurt pancakes. And it's about roughly like 400 calories, probably about 35 to 40 grams of protein in it. But 400 calories with peanut butter on top, with honey, and with syrup. And they're delicious. So I would just want to speak more into like, hey, like you do not have to constrict yourself as much as you think. And I think there's two sides of that coin because I've had some people swipe up. Like I think I posted a protein bar like a year ago and someone's like, I've just heard those are so bad for you, and I understand like some people are going to focus on, I know big ones like red dye and things of that nature and what not to put in your body, which although I think that is super important, there are other people in this world that they just, to even get there, they need to start with the basics. And they're not going to have that knowledge. And I think I remember looking back and feeling so overwhelmed about the idea of counting calories. And I would be thinking about it all day, thinking about, okay, can I eat this? I have to weigh everything the night before. So I just would want to speak into like, hey, like, you don't have to lose things. You can just make it 10 times easier. Like if it's burger night, maybe you guys didn't even know that you were grabbing 80/20 beef. Yeah, grab the 94 or 93.7 is what we get. You literally can't taste the difference. And you are saving so much extra calories and fat without even knowing it. Like those tiny switches is I feel like what I'm passionate about that I would probably talk into a lot.
Found your passion. That was it.
That was
right?
good. Yeah.
That was what I was interested
Yeah.
in hearing. Like, what are you passionate about? We just found it.
Yeah.
Or one of the things you're passionate. There could be multiple passions, but if that's what you're passionate about, fucking speak about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just feel like, I mean, there's just so many people that don't have the knowledge on it.
Yeah.
That it could change big time.
And just so you know, I don't care what you speak about, but if whatever you speak about, there are going to be people who get mad about it. Just so you know.
You know what's surprising actually is like I am still remember when we started filming the real life series and you were like, hey, like heads up, you're gonna get some crazy DMs. The only one, do you remember who it is? It was on the YouTube though, not on Instagram.
For,
Fucking Craig.
oh, Craig. What
Craig.
did he say?
I don't remember. It was
Oh,
something
good,
like it was.
good.
See, it wasn't even important, but like no one has ever, and I've like been waiting for it. Like I'm kind of like maybe it'll happen. Maybe it'll happen now, but no one has ever like been like
Good,
you fucking suck or like why are you like no one has ever said anything negative, which is crazy.
good.
It's crazy though, actually.
That, I mean, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It makes me really happy. Um, yeah. Listen, I think you should just post about whatever you're passionate about. And like, it sounds like there are a number of things you're passionate about. But ironically, going back to what you were saying about someone gives you $10 million, a lot of people have this, I want to win the lottery, da da da, I would do so much. I think most people that win the lottery, they end up becoming less happy.
Yeah, because they have no they don't know what they're doing. They're sitting on all this money, but they have no self worth tied to it. Is
Yeah.
that the right way to put it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair way to put it. I think if we look at, and we could look at this from a research perspective, if we look at the people who are, for example, happiest in the workplace, people who are happiest with their jobs, it's the people who can see the end result of their job.
Mm,
It's if you're sort of like a cog in a wheel, or just like you're another part of the system, but you don't see how what you're doing actually impacts people, then you're not going to be as happy with your job, with your work. But for example, what you're saying here is, you share these pancakes or you share these recipes and people are like, oh my gosh, this is so helpful. You see how it's impacting people. So it increases your workplace happiness. It increases your passion for it. It makes you more excited to do it. Um, I, I very, very, very much encourage you to post about the things that you're passionate about and to share it because it's only going to bring more joy and purpose into your life. And with that will come people who are angry and sad and mean little people. And it becomes worth it though.
yeah.
It's worth it because you see the positive impact you're having. And so it's, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but I don't think you're the faint of heart. I do think, as we spoke about at the beginning, you're very sensitive
Yeah.
and
Well, not with those things. And that's what's weird is like what I'm sensitive in is like, it can be so different. Like if someone was to DM me something, I'd be like, oh, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, but then it's like, I'm also like watching a movie and I'm like, this is so sad. Like,
like when my wife told you she was pregnant with our second, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Why'd you give me a baby in my hands? I'm gonna cry." Yeah, like very, very sensitive. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool part is, I was explaining this to someone yesterday. It's like you have the opportunity to become anti-fragile. Have you ever read that book, Anti-Fragile?
No.
One of my favorite books of all time, but especially for starting a business. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Super, super good for starting a business. Just like understanding what it means to
Is
become
it up here?
anti-fragile.
Can I
I
grab
don't.
it?
I
No,
have
I'm
it. And you
joking.
know what? I have it. I have it in on audiobook.
Oh, I should do that actually.
It's amazing. But basically, the way that I think of anti-fragile is, uh, imagine you're wearing body armor,
Hmm.
okay, and then every time, like, that someone has a sword and they're hitting your body armor, usually over time the body armor would decrease in effectiveness. It would take damage. It would eventually, like, it would wear out.
Hmm.
But imagine every time they hit your body armor, it reinforces your body. Like, your body armor gets stronger.
Getting,
It's like it
ah,
gets more impenetrable, right? So it's like, so you have body armor on, someone shoots it with a gun, and then instead of it taking damage, it actually gets stronger and more resilient. That's how I think about social media negativity. When people start coming at you, like, instead of letting it tear your body armor down, instead of letting it, like, you just take the body armor off and quit and let it, instead of it penetrating the body armor, it's another way of saying you get thicker skin.
that's such a good, I mean, yeah, I have to read that 100% because I think like the mindset and the outlook of like how you handle those is so
Mm-hmm.
good. And I don't think most people do a good job of being able to block that out and be
Mm-hmm.
able to look at that as like, hey, this is growth for me
Yep.
versus tearing me down.
There's other aspects of it as well. It's, you want to build a business that is anti-fragile, right? And what that means is there are many ways to look at it, but for example, the general train of thought, in at least in the West, is that having a salaried job is it's the sure thing, it's the safer job. But as we've seen in numerous events, like black swan events, for example, like COVID,
Hmm.
people, when they had a
Hmm.
salaried job, many people, it was either they have an income or they don't.
Yeah.
You've got a job
Fast.
until you don't. You get laid off, all of a sudden you're gone. You're fired, you're gone. You went from having a salary job to nothing. Whereas the Uber driver, for example, maybe they see a reduction in business, but they don't go from something to nothing. They've always still got something going on.
Yeah.
Right. And so the ideal business is an anti-fragile business in which difficult times not only don't hurt your business, but they actually give you an opportunity for growth. And so you want to build a business you want to build a business and have an income that is not dependent on the economy doing well. It's not dependent on a salary. It's not dependent on a job or a boss. Your business is dependent on you and your effort, and you get to decide how much that is. But it's better to have something than nothing, right? And so
Yeah.
if God forbid something happens like a COVID, like a big black swan event, you're not just left with absolutely nothing. You can always do something with it. So super, super good book. Highly
Yeah,
recommend.
I have to read that because I feel like even in, the jobs that I've had, like in sales at least, being in healthcare as a healthcare recruiter, like that was a need. Like no matter what, like, people are going to get sick in hospitals. A lot of hospitals are understaffed. Like I can take an ER nurse, place her 4 hours away from home. She's doubling, tripling her salary and working less hours. Like it was a win-win. It was something that made sense versus like, hey Jordan, like come buy these Cutco knives. Well, I don't need that right now.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I feel similarly in like the manufacturing world, like, okay, like that's not going to go anywhere. Obviously, like things can change and heighten, like tariffs and things like that can put definitely a big dampen on things, but it's not going anywhere. Like we need it to survive at many different reasons. So I feel like you're hitting it spot on. Like I've been trying to find that in myself too. Like, okay, like if it wasn't outside of a salary, what could I do to be able to sustain and live the way I need to live and make sure my bills are paid, my family's safe, and have a roof over our head and all those things.
Unsolicited advice to avoid tariffs: do everything within the United States.
100%. Yeah,
Don't outsource it. Keep it here.
I've already seen like a couple small companies. Like there's this one they make like golf covers. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, unfortunately, like we have to close down due to the tariffs. Like it's just not even worth our business. I'm like, dude,
Bring it here.
so I totally agree.
Well, Alyssa, where can people follow you?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram at Alyssa D. I want to say it's like 5 underscores.
We'll put it.
Yeah, but yeah,
You
at
might want to
Alyssa D.
change that because it's people doing all those underscores. We'll put your handle in the show notes so people can find it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate talking to you, and I hope this resonates with a lot of people. I just really want to tune in for those that like are struggling, and right now sitting on your couch like this, watching the video, like just know like you got this, and like you're capable of anything if you truly can get out of your funk and put your mind to it.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you so much.
Thank you everyone for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure you give Alyssa a follow. Again, I'll put her information in the show notes, in the description of this video, or in the podcast. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon.